My husband Steve and I created Function as an idea, really. We knew we didn't want to do what we were doing, but we didn't know what the next chapter of our lives would look like.
I always said I wanted to own a beer bar in college, but never a brewery because it's too much work. Where we are now.
What is a function to me?
Okay, well, math major, so I've got that answer.
I was an English and philosophy major, so I may not be the best person to answer that.
Yeah, I should know the exact definition better than I do for being an engineer.
Something that transforms something else.
Function's like a machine. You put things in it and you get something in. Whether or not that something is any different than what you put in is all up to the function.
A one-to-one input that returns exactly an output.
It's like how you do math, right?
He was really into brewing beer and I was really into making food, and we just sort of plunged in without really knowing exactly where the journey would take us.
By trade, I'm an electrical engineer. Graduated in 2003. I got a job with the Department of Defense. Worked there for 11 years.
I had sort of left and quit my job because it was stressing me out so much, and I was just ready to do something I really enjoyed doing.
Really just sick of corporate life, sick of working for someone else, that drudgery of 40 hours a week, being at a desk, the feeling that we're not in control 100%.
Our financial resources, especially relatively speaking for this type of undertaking, were extremely limited. And we had this amazing support network of friends and family around us who were really interested and really wanted to help. And we spent a lot of nights and weekends in here. We did demolition ourselves. We scraped off the plaster ourselves. And then we built these tables, the bar. My father made the beer sampler paddles.
Very stressful through all that process, and we hope that once we open the doors that some of that at least would go away, but after we open the doors, it's been the hardest thing I've ever done. It's a lot of stress on our relationship, but at the same time we've worked through it.
It's an extremely exhausting way to make a living. You're on your feet for a crazy amount of hours, and you're constantly responding to things changing at the minute.
I've always said we don't need to make a lot of money at this place. I don't expect to get rich. I don't need to be rich. So the pay cut, like everyone else, I like enough money. Experiences and things like that are worth much more. I've got a good story, so even if it doesn't work out, I owned a brewery for 2+ years. Well, the definition of function is your overall.
Despite what people think, my engineer husband did not come up with the name. I did.
Really, the way we define it is changing input, changing output.
A way of testing a variable into a larger equation, so you can see what would change if you changed just this one variable.
F of Cascade hops will equal this beer, but F of Galaxy hops will equal this beer.
We could constantly play and run essentially different variables through the equation.
In and of itself, it was such a tremendous amount of effort. And so it's also just nice to sit here sometimes on a really busy night and look out around the dining room and be like, we actually did it. Like, there were a million reasons that we could have easily given up and walked away at so many points in this process, and we didn't. We just pushed through. And so it's like feeling, I imagine I've never run a marathon, but what would feel like to cross the finish line. Unfortunately, it's not a finish line for us. Like any journey in life, it's continual, but just the process of getting open was its own journey that has come to fruition, and we have a journey ahead of just sort of seeing how to grow the business over time.